321 microphone check 1212.
Elove in the house. Thank you for making it out.
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man. It was a pleasure meeting you yesterday. We were at El Floridita in Hollywood.
Food.
Yeah, you like Cuban? Do you have any background with the Cubans?
I've been Havana, stayed at El Fanaya Hotel twice back in the day.
Yeah.
And,
what years?
Oh man, this was late 80s.
Whoa.
Early part of I got there early.
Yeah.
Before the
80s was still kind of good, right? 90s, it kind of fell apart.
It fell apart big time.
Because of the communism, USSR pulled out. There was no funding. There was no food, a lot of starvation.
Exactly.
It was pretty fucked up.
A whole lot.
Yeah, my family's Cuban, but my mom left Cuba before Fidel. So she's like, don't go there. That's not my Cuba. That's Fidel's Cuba. And I finally made it out in 2016. I was so happy I did,
2016
man.
was a good year.
It was a good year, man.
Yeah.
It was a good year because it was still old school, no internet, no Wi-Fi, no nothing.
Exactly.
But you eat at people's houses, you know.
Exactly.
It's fucking exciting.
Private restaurants, yeah.
Yeah.
The old cars, yeah.
But that's Cuba, man. We're here for you.
Totally appreciate it.
There's so much. You got the shirt you wore, the silhouette, a Public Enemy. How did that? Let's start there.
Well, I got a call from Bill Stephanie. At that time, he was working with Chuck D and Public Enemy. Bill gave me a call. He said, hey, Chuck want to talk to you. I said, okay, sounds like a problem. He said, no, it's good. So I met up with Bill. He said Chuck was playing around with the logo, trying to put together the logo for PE. And he saw a picture of me that was in the Right On magazine. And when he saw the picture, he said, hey, this is the perfect picture. He took my picture and put it right under the bullseye, and that became the logo for PE. So they paid me for my likeness. This was mid-'80s. And to this day, this is the #1 logo in all of hip-hop. The logo's actually in every museum around the globe.
Around the galaxy.
Yeah,
that thing's, everybody knows that logo.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And they worked at I'm sure like a flat rate or something at that time, right?
Well, at that time there was no NIL deals like today.
Yeah.
So they worked at a good rate where I got a piece of everything that moved for a couple of good years. So now the logo's,
pretty open and out for the public.
Open, and I own part of it. So does Chuck, and it's
it's got to be trademarked, right?
Oh absolutely, yeah.
Of
I'm doing an NIL deal with another company regarding my name, image, and likeness for a brand of sexual enhancement that's coming out about a quarter.
Can you talk about that? What it is exactly?
Yeah, it's a sexual stimulant. It's called Elove's to Bone, right? Elove's to Bone. Your girl ain't home, and your girl ain't home. Your girl's probably with me. So
yeah. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. It sounds funny, but it's legit.
No, it's the real deal. It's the real deal.
Yeah.
There's a male and a female, and the female, that's another story. But the male manned up, stand up all night.
Yeah. And what's it going to be, like a supplement, a pill, a gum?
It's going to be a pill, and it's going to also be a supplement. And they're going to have drinks, and then they're going to have the strip where it goes under your tongue, and bang, you have to take the pill. It dissolves right under your tongue, and next thing you know, it's like, wow, you're ready for action. And guess what? She's going to love it too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she's definitely going to like that. And what you did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
When LL Cool J got announced, I was watching that video. LL Cool J, for me, it's like LL Cool J and Will Smith, like that's what I grew up with. That's like those were my role models, plus, everybody else. But those two were something else. When I saw that video and him getting recognized the way they start off, where at first they gave him a watch and he's like, I got like a cheap watch. Like, what the fuck is this? But when they did that, you are on stage. You were like in the middle of everything.
You got to watch the 10 minutes before L went on. It was all about
the 10 minutes before?
10 minutes before. I only saw Heat. Like, when L came on, I turned it off.
It was an interesting moment because it actually took us 40 years to get to Cleveland, Ohio. That's where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is stationed. And that was the moment that you look out into this audience and you see Jay-Z, see Paul McCartney, see Taylor Swift. Tina Turner was there. No, she wasn't there. She was also nominated and inducted, but she was getting kind of sick at that point. And one of my idols, Clarence Avant, he was actually the recipient of the Ahmet Ertegun Award.
Yeah.
Ahmet Ertegun is the co-founder of the Rock Hall of Fame as well as Atlantic Records.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing you were a part of. Congratulations. I mean, you can't even pay for that. You can't buy that. That's just
that's a part of history in the making.
And forever. Yeah. Forever there.
Yeah, that's the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he's a living legend.
Yeah, no, he is the legend.
No, he's Godfather.
You are the legend.
Yeah.
Now, when you did the silhouette, you're obviously rocking the same hat.
Yeah.
You know, that style. Were you committed to the hat forever? Like, did you know, or it kind of like?
I was committed to the hat because of a really good friend of mine, mentor, the late great Jam Master Jay from Run DMC, the DJ.
Yeah.
The legend, behind the two turntables, rest of soul. I started wearing the hat because of Jay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like Run and DJ, and at that point in time, the hat just happened to work, so I just kept wearing it.
Yeah. And then you're a producer. You want to talk about who you produced, what you've done? And I think you did some singing too.
I did one or two songs, but mostly on the production side. I've produced everybody from LL to Tupac. I've done songs for John Forte. Did 4 or 5 songs with John Forte, Tupac. Directed commercials for everybody from Levi, BCBG. Videos, everybody from Snoop to Tupac. The list goes on. Yeah.
What times? Because you were at the beginning when rap was like almost outlawed in a sense. Like what was some of your favorite times from back then? What do you like or don't like now about hip hop music or the music industry? Both. What did you like back then, and what didn't you like, and what do you like now, and what didn't you like, and what don't you like now?
I love the fact that at that point in time, the label actually supported you to some degree. They had a marketing budget where you didn't have to go raise money or find money. The label actually supported your dream, and they kind of stayed out of the creative where they didn't really get involved with the creative. The problem with now is that there's no label support. There's no artist say so unless you have your own label. Unless you have your own label, you're pretty much at the beck and call of what you think the fans want to see at the end of the day. So a lot of people right now is going in studios with no direction. They're just pretty much listen to their homeboys and their homegirls. Yeah, this is gonna be a hit. Listen to somebody with no experience.
Right.
So there's no direction.
Would you say there's a lot of corporate heads giving their opinions, like you should do it this way and you should do it that way? And it's like, well, I don't feel that and I don't like that, but like they're kind of guided the wrong way versus before it was just pure creative?
Well, before it was all creative, where they actually let the artists do their thing in the studio. But now you have a lot of ex-artists working at the label. So they always go back to when I was an artist, but you didn't make a hit song. That's why you're at the label instead of being on stage. So you listen to somebody that didn't do it, opposed to following somebody that did do it.
Isn't that weird that people that have the least experience have such a big voice? Like for example, a movie critic. You got movie critics talking shit about the story or the writing or the fucking acting. But they've never written anything. They've never been in anything, and for some reason, people follow those voices, and that happens in the rap. That happens in the music industry. That happens in all industries.
Especially in sports. You got announcers talking about, this is what you. Hold up, you never played the game. You was never in the NBA, but yet you're telling people how they should play and what they're doing wrong, and you have never done it on your own. So I don't listen to all that.
Why is that? It's just
it's a lot of media driven. It's a lot of corporate. You have a lot of sponsors. You have a lot of sponsors dropping dollars. Certain people they like, so they just give that person a platform, and next thing you know, that person becomes one of the ears and eyes of that game. Like Stephen A. Stephen A. I love Stephen A. But Stephen never played ball. He never played in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I can't listen to Stephen A. If I'm going to listen to somebody, I'm going to listen to Shaq or Kenny, somebody that holds a couple rings. That did it at the highest level.
That did it at the highest level. Yeah. That's the way it's talking about.
Totally.
Who are some of the people that motivate you, and some of the favorite people in your life that you look up to? I mean, you are the legend, but there's got to be somebody up there that you're like, fuck, I like how you did things.
Clarence Avon was one guy that directed me and guided me certain
Mentor.
ways. Definitely a mentor. No fans about him. I met Erdogan, co-founder of Atlantic Records, Rockwell Hall of Fame. He's a good friend of mine. He actually gave me really good direction. Leo Cohen is another good guy. A lot of people have issues with Leo for whatever reason, but to me, when I came out the hospital, because I was in the hospital for 3 years, and when I finally was released from the hospital, Leo gave me some really good, solid advice. He said, E, you're not the same person. You need to go back to school. I'm like, Leo, I'm trying to get a production deal. I don't want to hear that right now. But at that time, looking back, he was 100% right, and I chose to go back to school for directing, writing, producing film, documentary, and videos, commercials. That was actually the right choice that I made at that time, thanks to Leo.
That's beautiful.
Leo Cohen, I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's interesting because those little things, those little opinions, or that little push from somebody changes the outcome of your whole life.
The right somebody, yes.
Yeah.
Because I was here getting a lot of different advice from different people, and I was like, I have to listen to somebody that's in this space that have hit the ball at the highest level, fastballs.
Let's go back even further. How did you get involved with any of this and any of these people? Like, how'd you grow up?
Grew up in New York City. My parents came here as immigrants, first of all. They were born in Antigua. And when they came, half my family are immigrants, half my family was born in America. I happened to be born in the States. And when I grew up in the Bronx, something happened to me. I met these two producers living directly next door to me. Long story short, they were producing for this TV show called Wonderama. I'm like, wow, I want to be on that show. It's a kid's show. So they brought me down. They gave me 3 tickets for me and my 2 sisters. They drove us down. We walked into the set. I'm like, that's Bob McAllister. He's the host of Wonderama. I ran up to Bob. I was 7, 8 years old. I said, Bob, you're the best host on TV. I love your show. He said, what are you doing here, young man? I said, I'm here to win something. He said, I'm going to definitely call you. So when he finally called me, I had the moment. I'm standing here on set, live audience, and Bob said, what's the name of the bird on Sesame Street? I says, read my sister lips. I said, Big Bird. He said, pick any prize. I picked the prize. Next day, I'm in school. All the girls are gravitating to me because they saw me on Sunday on live TV.
Yeah.
So girls will carry my bags. They're buying me lunch. They're buying me milk. I'm loving it. I'm the star. I'm the star for the week. So the name of my book is called Famous for a Week. And that moment changed my life. I met a guy named Peter Gation when I moved to Queens. I was about 14 years old, just turning 15. I started working for Peter, promoting the Tunnel, the Limelight, the Palladium, and his other various clubs he had in New York City.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 of them at the time,
yeah,
right?
4 or 5 clubs. Yeah. The Tunnel, the Limelight, the Palladium, and Club USA.
Yeah.
I had about 200 kids in each borough. That's 5 boroughs. That's about 1,000 kids. So each night we would give out posters. We would give out flyers at the posters, bus stop billboards. We would blanket the city with all these flyers promoting his clubs. So I started the street team when I was about 16 years old.
It's fucking
and this
huge.
is before digital. This is 1983, 84.
Yeah.
And that led me to meeting a guy named Cool J, and we started working on some music, and boom, next thing you know.
But the crazy thing is in those times to run 200 kids.
It's unheard of.
No cell phone. Mm-hmm. I don't think pagers were around. Like they had the generic pagers where you got beep, but then you had to call the number to see what was going on. Like
we had rolls of quarters in our pockets, and I had 2 beepers.
Yeah. But there was no display, right? It was like it beeped, and you had to call in.
To call back,
the call center would connect you, and then they'd be like, "Oh, you got a message." And
exactly, you had to speak to 2 people just to get a message. It was crazy, but we made it happen, and that led to the Tunnel, the Limelight, and the Palladium being the clubs that ran the 80s and 90s in New York City.
Man, those were crazy times.
Yeah.
Do you miss those times?
Actually, yes, I do, because those times was real, opposed to things that's happening now. You're not even sure if you have real news or fake news on your phone. You're starting to see things you have to question. So
Yeah,
those
journalism back then was like more professional. People were more they took it more personal. You know, it was like, I got to make sure this is verified. I got to confirm it. You know, the management would be like, okay, have 3, 4, 5 fact checkers before it was even published. And now it's so different. Let me grab the door real quick. Yeah, no. Now it's like anybody can publish any story they want. And if they have an opinion about something they don't fucking like, this is what I do like about podcasts, because you can get people in here and hear it from a person.
Exactly.
You know, it's a there's no filter, there's no agenda. It's just a legit conversation.
Exactly.
But other people are just writing shit up, and it's like somebody had a bad experience with this beer, and you know what? It was made with horse piss, and people start believing that.
Especially if that person has a certain level of followers, it's very believable, and it gets out very fast now.
Like the flat earthers. Come on.
It's crazy.
What is going on? But anyways, let's not get too far off that.
Yeah.
What, again, you have so many accomplishments. We briefly talked about stuff that people don't know. You know, like you have the kids that you fund colleges and you do charity and stuff like that. Let's highlight some of that stuff, something that people don't know about you and what you do, because that's a beautiful thing.
Thanks, appreciate that. Well, I've been
you.
working.
You did it.
Thanks, appreciate that. I've been working with this. She's one of the top civil rights attorneys in the country. Her name is Wallace Pate. She's actually also one of the first black interns in the White House. Her dad worked for JFK back in the 60s. And her field is special. Her field where she's this woman's, she's not just an attorney. She's actually passed legislation and written laws that became,
Bless her
written
heart.
bill that was carried that became law.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she focused on kids that's been abused by the system, preferably the foster care industry.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what do you mean by the system? But the foster kids,
care industry, yeah. So we have a MOU with Martin Luther King Magnet High School in Los Angeles. We have a deal with UCI Irvine in Orange County. We actually put about 230 kids through college in the last 14, 15 years.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful, those programs that help kids, man. It's game changer. You're talking about mentors. You're giving kids hope, direction, opportunity, stuff that they would never have. And guess what? If you didn't give them that community would be a lot worse.
Oh, man.
That there'd be a lot more trouble.
Totally.
And I think that's kind of that is one benefit of social media, that it kind of shows you that there's more out there and there's opportunity and there's like almost in a system of like free education and direction and mentor. Again, you can't rely on it too much, and you should be careful what you're paying attention to.
For real.
But there's some real shit, man.
Yeah.
Like if you start finding or liking like real stuff, there's some real dope cats out there like giving some amazing advice.
Absolutely.
Like I got a 15-year-old and some of like I raised them right and mom raised them right, but like some of the stuff he comes at me with, I'm like, dude, like, where'd you learn that? That's
online.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff. Yeah. What other stuff do you have that people probably don't know?
Well, 2014, I decided I got kind of burnt out with America and the business in America as a whole, so I decided to move to Japan, because at that point, my partner was Japanese.
Yeah.
And she was one of the top video game composers for a game called Metal Gear Solid.
Love that game.
Oh, that's one of my favorite games, too. It was actually created by a guy named Hideo Kojima, and they had to deal with this company called Konami. Now, Konami,
huge.
Yeah, Konami
wasn't that Street Fighter?
Exactly.
It was the arcade things.
Exactly.
It's like all the games.
There you go.
Yeah.
They were like the Def Jam of the video games, because they started off, and they were ahead of everybody at that point in time. So long story short, we moved to Japan. I brought 4 engineers with me from Utah, and we actually made our game called Fearless D. Now, D stands for Drift King. Drift King is the face of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
He's the guy that started the whole franchise based on his upbringing in the gaming world.
Right.
And the Drift King, this guy is amazing. And he's passed numerous deals, and he signed with us a very small company.
Yeah.
Everybody said, oh, you can't get the Drift King. He came on, so we actually raised our seed round. So I have 2 video games in production right now.
Wow.
That's coming out fourth quarter.
That's something.
One is a driving game called Fearless D. The other one's a boxing game called The Takeover. And The Takeover is a brand based on my godson, Teofimo Lopez. He's the welterweight champion of the world right now. Me and his dad, Junior, went to high school together.
Yeah.
And I'm his godfather since I have no kids. And, Junior had 3 kids. And right now, Teo is the guy that everybody wants to fight. He's looking to fight Bud Crawford at 147 in a couple of years.
Is that's lightweight or featherweight?
That would be lightweight.
Lightweight, right?
He's at welter right now. At 140, he's a champ.
That's amazing.
You got 500 maybe babies.
He's got what now?
500 maybe babies.
500 maybe babies.
baby. No maybe baby.
Who is this guy, man?
Who's this guy?
What's going on? Where are those voices coming from?
I don't know. It's probably the walls or something.
Yeah. How is Japan?
Oh, Japan's great. The food's incredible out there. The opportunities is just to die for. I was actually the only American on the 2020 Olympic Committee for Entertainment. I had a huge contract for opening ceremony and closing ceremony before COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that why you came back? Because COVID kicked in?
Yeah, COVID kicked in, and it was getting really. The whole pandemic thing started in Asia first, and it came here. So at that point in time, I saw it coming, so I just flew back, and
that probably the best decision you could have made.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah, because they get strict out there.
Oh, big times. You didn't want to get caught up there. You couldn't get it.
Yeah.
So I just came back at that time.
Yeah. So when you went over there, when you went and came back, you were there for 4 or 5 years?
I was living there. I was living there from 2014 to current. I still have my place there right now.
Yeah.
So when I was in Japan, after I brought Stan Lee and Jeremy Renner, we were the co-producers of the first Tokyo International Comic-Con in 2016. As I said, 2016 was a good year for us because we had the Comic-Con mid-December. We had 500,000 people in 3 days. It was packed.
Amazing.
And right after that, they flew me to China, did a deal with a guy named DJ who owns a company called NetDragon. They're the second largest mobile gaming company in all of China behind the world's biggest, which is Tencent.
Yeah.
So they're doing the software for both games, the driving and boxing game. And I have 2 soundtracks that goes with both games. I have songs from Chuck D, numerous other artists, Eric Ben Rakim, on both soundtracks, and we're going to release everything fourth quarter.
You got the rap game, you got production, you got video games. What do you got on the comedy or with working with comedians or anything? Have you ever done that? Or movies?
Well, I shot a film called The Dreamers. It was a low budget film that we self-financed, and we actually sold it to MTV Japan. I never released it in America.
Yeah.
It was a dance movie. Around the time that Rise and You Got Served came out, we shot a dance movie because, Japanese people love to dance, and dance was really big at that point in time. So we sold it to MTV Japan. That was the #1 after-school movie for 2 years in Japan. It was called Dreamers. You can get it online.
Talking about COVID and how we were talking about the 80s and now, isn't it crazy that even like 2016, that was a great year.
Oh, great year.
For everybody.
Everything was amazing.
Life was great. Before COVID, it changed us, huh?
It was popping, man. We just
money was flowing, projects were going, people were happy. Now we got people just dying mysteriously. We got people stressed. The economy's weird. The president, everything's so fucking.
Yeah. It was I mean, after 16, 17 was great. 18 started getting kind of nuts.
18 was still good.
It started halfway through 18. Things started getting a little bit sketchy. I was noticing some of the movement of certain companies overseas. Yeah, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Then boom, the COVID came, and that changed everything.
Yeah. People don't realize how like people are like America, and it's like, guys, we're a global economy, man. Like, if it's bad here, it's bad everywhere, man. Totally. And if it's bad other places and places are suffering, we're gonna get affected too. We're a global economy. People don't.
Everything goes hand in hand.
Yeah, people don't get that. Going back to Public Enemy in the 80s, you know, you watch documentaries about those times and people trying to express them, not trying, expressing themselves,
Exactly.
and the radio blocking them off and limiting them and all that. How were those times? How crazy was that times? And I'm talking about like how did people treat you, how did police treat you, how did laws, how did different states had different things, concerts, performances. It was.
But those
Was it regular or was it like, dude, this is some hard times?
Well, all right. I'm glad you brought that up because if you saw the movie Straight Outta Compton with NWA,
Right.
when NWA was in Detroit, Houston, and a couple other cities, when they were getting arrested for saying "fuck the police," that song on stage, actually NWA was actually on our tour. They were the opening act for us.
Oh. Yeah.
They didn't show that in the movie.
Right.
So at that point in time, NWA got arrested again tonight. Wow, okay. We were the headliners, so at that point, half the crowd was like, wow, they got arrested. And, there was no report until they were released out on bail that next morning. So you can even say certain things on stage, without getting arrested.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that
it was
was
strict.
happening every single night. Every time they did that song, they got a warning from the mayor and the police commissioner, do not perform that song tonight. And they would go out and perform it anyway, and they would get arrested on stage, hauled off, and they wouldn't get out till the next morning. And that would be all over the newspapers. Keep in mind, there's no social media at this point.
Right.
So you heard that story, and you just
Did
followed
that
it.
help them, you think?
Oh, absolutely, because it fueled every city where the tour was going. The mayor and the police commissioner was coming down to let us know that if you guys perform that song, you're going to be arrested and you're going to be charged.
And that was the green light for them. They were like,
That was
there
the
it is.
green light.
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Perfect.
More press, more sales. So it
What
actually,
is it, a $3,000 bail or something like that?
$3,000-$4,000.
Yeah.
But, they got
Send the attorneys and the story.
Yeah.
Sell out concert now.
sold out.
Great marketing.
Absolutely.
Great marketing. So nobody feared anything. They kind of they kind of welcomed it.
Oh, totally, because it would mean more sales.
Man, it to me it's wild again because of the social media. But I was raised with like so much fear against cops. I'm terrified by cops. And now that I'm older, I'm like, dude, fuck the police. Like it's different. And it's not like fuck all the police. There's good cops. There's bad
There's
cops.
good cops.
But there's a lot of shitty, like
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
before the cameras,
Oh,
and you get into
absolutely.
the Rodney King beatings and like what you didn't see, like too much temptation.
It's funny because
And
my
power.
dad was a detective.
Yeah.
Half my family was in law enforcement. So
Yeah.
I grew up with the badge in the house, and,
How was that?
it was cool for me because, I played sports. I was one of the top players in baseball in my city. And my dad always told me, if you get in trouble and you did it, I'm not going to help you. But
Yeah.
if you didn't do something and you're arrested, I will help you get out.
Right.
But if you do something to embarrass my good name, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So sports and music, that's it.
That's good, man. So you were raised with both parents.
Oh, absolutely.
2 sisters?
I have 5 sisters.
5
2 brothers,
sisters.
yeah.
5 sisters, 2 brothers. Big family, man.
Yeah.
And you guys tight?
Oh, very tight, yeah, totally.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there was one rule. We always had to have dinner together every night and talk about the day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you guys you could do whatever you want.
After-
but the street lights turn on.
Dinner time.
Dinner time. Everybody sit down.
Don't let me call you.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's good. Random question: How much did New York change in the '80s, '90s, and then 9/11? Everybody talks about how it was before 9/11, and then after 9/11, it just united so many people. But what were the different phases, and what were some of your favorites?
Before 9/11, New York was a totally different city because the nightlife ran the city. The club promoters, New York at that time was alive, and the energy was incredible. After 9/11, it was somewhat displaced. People trying to find themselves. All the big clubs, that was Marquee, was closed. That guy that named Mayor Giuliani, that crooked
Mayor
Republican mayor, the one that has about $300 million judgment against him, he actually ruined New York City. In my opinion, he's one of the people that ruined New York City. He was mayor for two terms. He decimated certain things in the city, and those things will never change. It'll never come back. That's why he's facing jail time, and he's facing a $350 million judgment right now. Karma is a bitch.
Isn't it interesting how an individual can change a city so much? Like Vegas, they talk about Wynn. What's his name? Who runs the Wynn? Steve Wynn.
Oh, Steve Wynn, yeah.
He changed Vegas.
Oh, I mean,
before him, it was the gambling capital of the world. Now it's like an entertainment family, and Steve Wynn introduced that whole commercial, thing, and he changed the whole city. Yeah.
Well, he ran Caesar's Palace before you.
No, of course he ran it, but he changed.
Oh no, he did.
He changed what it was. Because if you look at the history of Vegas, it was like gambling number one.
Oh, of course.
Then let's get some cool shows. Then whatever falls from that. But now it's like entertainment.
It's
and
Disney.
family.
It's Disney with the casino.
It's Disney with a casino.
That's all. It's Disney with a casino.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely better than Disney. Even Disney's
Disney,
not what it was back.
I haven't been.
I don't want to go, man. I got a 5-year-old. I don't want to take him to Disney, man. I hear these terrifying stories about transgender men with beards wearing dresses, dressing up kids.
It's wild out there.
And this is what I heard. And then I know some people that went. They're like, "It's that, dude. It's that. You got creepy dudes with beards and dresses trying to convince your boy to put on a dress." And I was like, "I ain't going."
Yeah, of course.
I ain't going. And Elon Musk kind of called them out pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, that's off topic and stuff. Yeah. How long you been in California, and what was are you staying in California? I don't even know where you're staying.
I'm mostly right now in D.C. and Vegas. I moved to D.C. about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. I became a registered federal lobbyist on behalf of 3 issues that's affecting the hip-hop community and the cannabis community in every city. Gun legislation, gun reform, the cannabis community on the federal legalization level, and sex trafficking and foster care kids, and the lack of due process in the courtroom.
That's amazing. Yeah. Those are some hardcore topics. Yeah. You're pro-gun or anti-gun?
Say it again?
You're pro-gun or anti-gun?
I'm pro-gun. I don't have a problem with guns. Yeah. What I have a problem with is the laws and how people that shouldn't have guns being able to get their hands on firearms.
Yeah.
But I think
the laws that prevent people from protecting themselves.
Well, the laws is a joke because I'll tell you why.
Of course they are.
Most of the people in the House and the Senate, they all own stock in the gun manufacturing companies. When you're a public servant, because you're there to serve the public, while you're a public servant, you should not own stock in any public traded company.
100%.
You should be forced to sell all your stock in every one of those companies.
100%, but that's not even the case.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story right there.
Yeah, because when you look at the gun statistics, you look at, just a simple example. You look at Chicago that has the strictest gun control laws, and they have the worst gun problems in the world. Basically, all the criminals have guns, but none of the business owners are allowed to have guns. Yeah. Like, that's insane. Yeah. That's insane. It's not like, the criminals are going to be like, all right, ban guns in California, and the criminals are, okay. No, you're just preventing the good guys from having the option, if they choose, to protect themselves.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right about that. Interesting. So you said the gun, and then what were you doing for the rap, protecting the rap rights, or what were you doing?
So there's three major issues that I'm lobbying the House and the Senate on: cannabis reform, and cannabis legalization on the federal level, because you have a lot of federal workers that can't smoke cannabis because they're tested.
Right.
So,
but they can go to bars.
They go to bars, they can drink, and they can pop pills.
Yeah, they pop pills. Yeah. They get prescriptions. You got it.
If you own the dispensary, you can't put that money into a bank legally.
Right.
Then you have sex trafficking, foster care, and lack of due process in the courtroom. Yeah. There's a $30 billion Title IV Social Security Welfare Act that 16 of the 30 billion is doled out to California, and 16 billion goes to New York, and the rest of the money goes to smaller states where they're taking kids and keeping kids as long as possible in foster care because they receive $150,000 from the Title IV for each kid that's in there.
That's terrible.
And it's really cool.
But isn't that also happening with our prisons? They get money for everybody they keep in there?
This is the deal. It starts in foster care. All right. Say you and your wife is having a baby, right? you're on Medicaid. Your wife is 5 months pregnant. They start testing her, prenatal care, make sure the baby's fine. They'll drug screen your wife without telling her. So when they know she's positive for marijuana, her due date is April 5th. So they'll notify
Child Services.
Child Services, DCFS. We have a positive over here in bed 2. Her due date is April 5th. So April 6th, they'll roll a social worker and 3 cops by to take the baby.
Fuck, dude. This is
And
happening?
is it happening? It's happening in every city, every state. There's a $30 billion tag
Oof.
on everybody right now.
$30,000 tag they get?
$30 billion. $30 billion Social Security Top 4E Welfare Act. This is why I became a registered federal lobbyist, because the minute they take that baby, the state gives $150,000 from the Top 4 money from the federal government. Money goes to, there's 2 law firms. One firm called Ladle, LADL, Los Angeles Dependency Lawyers Inc., and the other firm is called come back to me in a second. There's 2 firms. One firm represents the parents, one firm represents the minor. Both firms has a $35 million contract with the city. And their job is to keep the baby as long as possible, to keep that Top 4E money keep rolling in. And that's happened in every city, every state. So they break apart the family. Shaniqua wound up selling ass on Figueroa and 6th, and her brother Barkem becomes the young shooter that we hear about, the 17-year-old kid that shot 2 people. He goes to jail for life, and after he's out of this foster care system, they pick him up in the prison system where they get $250,000 a year for each prisoner, for each inmate.
Fuck, man.
So they get you from womb to tomb, and they make money on you all the way out.
That's fucking hardcore, man. That's painful.
We have a whole movement.
That's painful.
We're shooting a docu-series called Modern Slavery. This is where my partner Wallace comes in, because she is one of the founding mothers in this space right here of kids that's been abused by the system.
Damn. That's to our people, man.
Like you black and brown all day.
All day.
They don't take too many white kids. I don't see too many Asian kids in that system, because the Asian community, they don't go for it. They make a stink because they have banks, they run tech, and they don't play with those Asian kids. Native kids, there's a whole nother treaty that they have to go through to take a Native kid, because there's DACA. If the kid's Native, it's a whole different ballgame. You have to have a separate courtroom for that kid. And the Native community, they don't go for it. They put their foot down because they have casinos and they have a really good relationship with the government, so they back away from Native. They only take black and brown kids mostly.
Yeah. Well, they're easy targets.
Well, they're poor targets. There's no voice, nobody speaking up for the poor people, and they take people.
And they're already in the system already. That's they're already with the food stamps, the Medicare, and all that. Yeah. They're just lined up.
There you go.
The factory for them, just boop, boop, boop.
All day long.
All day long. Are you familiar with what's going on with the borders and how ridiculous that is right now?
I'm somewhat familiar with the border. I mean, I've seen things on TV. I speak to a lot of different lawmakers because I'm in D.C. half the year. Yeah. And, the border situation, that's a whole nother bag right there.
Yeah.
The border situation, it's ugly all the way around. It's ugly.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Dr. Phil, and he was talking about that he went down there, and he's like, dude, it's crazy because year to date, 3 million people have crossed the border, all 18, 30-year-old military men, Chinese, Muslim, like whatever. And I don't know the exact numbers, but based, quote, what he was saying is for some reason when Trump was president, there was a rapid DNA test. So if you came with a kid, they would do a rapid DNA test and link it. For whatever reason, they pulled that out. Now you got these military men coming with kids. Kids have phone numbers and address, and they're stopping them and saying, hey, where are you going? Going to my aunt's house, going to my cousin's house, whatever the case is. All right, let me call. Okay, they confirm. Are you waiting for the kids? Yep. All right, cool. Chicago, New York, where are you going? All right, jump on that bus. They give them bus passes, and there's all these kids coming through, and they don't even know if that's the parents or not. It's just completely open. And then another statement that messed me up is, Joe Rogan was saying You get 10 badass motherfuckers. You're talking about well-trained military men into one of our cities, LA. Those 10 men will terrorize the city. Will terrorize. And it's scary, man, because if you think about like a big plot of how to like sink us with everything going on, that's it. Get them through the border, have them cross over, and end the story. So it's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
It's wild times.
That's what it is.
It's wild times.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, man. Traumatizing.
Yeah.
All right, good. Something good. Let's get some good stuff. What excites you right now in life? What makes you happy?
I'm excited about a lot of different things. This is actually it's a great year, 2024, first quarter. We're approaching the third month, first quarter. We have numerous big events coming up. Going to be involved with a campaign where we're going to be actually dropping charges off at numerous casinos where people walk into a casino, your phone's going dead. We have programs that's going to actually be able to charge your phone, and we have numerous campaigns. We have Comic-Cons coming up, 2024. We have Vegas Comic-Con coming up. It's going to be 300,000-400,000 people there. We have a lot of products that we're going to roll out at the Comic-Con in Vegas. We have 420 coming up. We're either going to have an event going in Vegas or St. Louis. We have the Champs Trade Show May 9th to the 11th in Atlantic City. I have in the fourth quarter in December, we're having this huge 9th annual Tokyo Comic-Con back in Japan. I'm excited about everything that's rolling out, including the video games, the soundtracks, the reality shows,
a documentary.
So, I mean, this is going to be a great year. So I'm excited about everything I just mentioned.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And then I guess the only thing I would want to bring up that's just a thought in my head is Vegas is killing it, huh?
I love Vegas.
Vegas is killing
Vegas is a spot. No ifs, ands, or buts about. Super Bowl was great. The Champs Trade Show, shout out to Jeff Hirschfeld. The 50th anniversary hip hop, shout out to all the guys that was a part of that scenario. And I'm looking forward to the 51st year right here and taking everything to the next level on a global scale.
Man, well, congratulations. Thank you for coming. I'm happy about everything you're doing. Please come back and keep me posted and updates.
I'd like to shout out to the winning team. We have numerous products that we're going to be launching first, second, third quarter 2024. And see you guys soon.
Is there what's a good way to get a hold of you or contact you? Do you have a website, email, whatever's public?
My situation is real simple. All you have to do is go to your Instagram and type in Elove, ELOVE Global, GLOBAL. Remember, Elove Global. Elove. If your girl ain't home, your girl ain't home. She's probably with me.
Thank you, sir. Peace out.
2024.